Inner strength isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand recognition. It moves quietly, calmly, like a blade sharpened in the dark. Most people chase outer power, status, image, validation. But that kind of strength breaks fast. It depends on applause, on outcomes, on whether the world plays nice. But inner strength? That's different. That's untouchable. That's trained in silence, proven in storms, and built through rituals. Not motivational bursts, not feel-good quotes, but habits. Intentional, repeated, ruthless in discipline. The Stoics didn't talk about inner power as a gift. They saw it as a result, the product of structured practice, of knowing yourself so well you don't flinch when the world misreads you, of holding the line even when your mind begs you to quit. This video isn't about hype, it's a blueprint. These rituals aren't trendy, they're ancient, sharpened over centuries, used by emperors, warriors, philosophers, and now they're yours. But only if you're ready to stop performing strength and start living it. First ritual: own your mornings before the world touches them. Most people wake up and give their mind away before they even stand up. They check their phone, dive into news, answer messages, scroll, react, compare. And just like that, their mind belongs to everyone else. The Stoics believed the first hour of your day was sacred, not because it's spiritual, but because it's strategic. Marcus Aurelius started each morning reminding himself of who he was, what he could expect from others, and how he chose to move. Why? Because mindset isn't automatic. It's built. And if you don't build it, the world will build it for you. That first hour sets the tone, not just for your schedule, but for your state. So before you give your mind to the chaos out there, give it to clarity in here. Sit, write, reflect, train. Do something that requires you to confront yourself, not just consume others. Because warriors don't check their feed first. They check their focus. Second ritual: practice intentional silence. Not the kind of silence where you zone out. The kind where you listen to your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses. Most people are afraid of silence. They'll fill it with anything: music, noise, scrolling, background distraction. Because when it's quiet, the truth gets loud. But the Stoics didn't run from that. They sat with it. They welcomed it. Because silence doesn't weaken the mind, it reveals it. Seneca spent hours each day in thought, not to be passive, but to observe. He said, "Only time and silence can reveal the shape of our soul." Silence is a mirror. It shows you where you're still reactive, where you're insecure, where you're chasing without direction. And when you see it clearly, you can shift it consciously. So set time aside each day. No music, no screens, no talking. Just you and your mind. Breathe. Watch. Don't resist what comes up. Study it. That's how warriors sharpen self-awareness. Not in noise, in stillness. Third ritual: do one hard thing daily, on purpose. Not for applause, not for growth hacks, for discipline, for inner weight. The Stoics trained difficulty like a muscle. Epictetus said, "Difficulties show what men are." That's not just poetry, that's protocol. When you intentionally do what's uncomfortable, you're no longer a victim of emotion. You're building resistance. Strength isn't born in comfort. It's forged in small daily moments when you don't want to do something, but do it anyway. Wake up earlier than you want to. Take the cold shower. Sit still when your mind wants stimulation. Say no when saying yes would feel easier. Each moment you push through, you gain more than momentum. You gain ownership over your habits, over your reactions, over yourself. Warriors don't train comfort, they train exposure. Because in discomfort, You meet your limits, and then choose to push past them. Do this every day, not to impress anyone, but to prove to yourself that emotion doesn't rule you. You rule you. If you're training your mind like a warrior, hit subscribe. No hype, just discipline. Fourth ritual, journal with precision, not emotion. Most people write to vent, to escape. But the Stoics wrote to confront. Marcus Aurelius didn't keep a journal for comfort. He kept it for command. Each page wasn't just reflection, it was recalibration. A reminder of who he was, what he stood for, and what he refused to tolerate, especially from himself. Journaling like a warrior means writing what matters, not just what feels good. You write to clarify your thinking, to audit your day, to face your contradictions, to name your excuses and strip them of power. Every morning, write your intent. Every night, write your audit. What did I allow today? What did I avoid? What did I strengthen? And what did I weaken by default? This isn't therapy, it's strategy. Because if you don't track your mind will track you into loops, impulses, and reaction. A warrior writes not to be poetic. He writes to stay sharp. You want inner strength? Put it in ink. Fifth ritual, check your reactions in real time. The Stoics didn't wait until the end of the day to reflect. They trained while the emotion was happening. When anger hit, they paused. When ego rose, they observed. When fear whispered, they listened, then chose. Why? Because your reaction is the truest mirror of your training. And most people aren't responding to life. They're reenacting patterns. Unchecked emotion, default panic, instant judgment. That's not freedom. That's programming. A warrior checks it as it happens. In the moment you feel triggered, ask, what part of me feels threatened? In the moment you feel defensive, ask, is this pride or truth? That level of awareness is rare, but it's where control lives. You want an unbreakable mind? Train in the middle of pressure, not after it's over, because that's where it counts. So here's the question. When discomfort shows up, do you observe and respond, or do you flinch, react, and repeat the same version of you've been trying to outgrow? If your answer was I flinch, good. That honesty is strength, because you can't rebuild something you still pretend isn't broken. But now you see it. Now you know where your edge is, and more importantly, where you've stopped pushing it. That's where the shift begins. Not in theory, in ritual. Small, daily, non-negotiable practices that don't care how you feel. They just require that you show up. Again, and again, and again. This is what separates noise from power. The average from the disciplined. Inner strength isn't about being stone-faced or untouchable. It's about being fully aware of your triggers and choosing your behavior anyway. That's training. That's mastery. And yes, it's hard. That's why most people won't do it. That's why your silence will confuse them. Your consistency will threaten them. Your peace will trigger their chaos. But you're not building this for them. You're building this because you're done breaking every time life pushes. Now you're ready to push back, without noise, without drama, without losing yourself. You don't build an unbreakable mindset overnight. You build it in moments no one sees, in routines no one claps for, in choices that make you stronger, not safer. That's what these rituals are. Not routines to feel good, but systems to stay solid. You wake up and protect your mornings. You carve out silence to sharpen self-awareness. You do hard things on purpose, not for results, but for reputation with yourself. You journal with intention, not emotion. You train your response in real time. And when you mess up, you don't spiral, you reset. That's what warriors do. They return, again and again, quietly, powerfully. and without needing to explain it to anyone. Because strength doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't chase approval. It doesn't flinch under pressure. It just shows up, trained, tested, and still standing. You want inner strength? Then make these rituals your code. Build your mind like a fortress. And when the world starts shaking, you won't. Because by then, you've already trained